The world doesn't stop when we lose somebody, even as great as Dale Earnhardt was. When Ned Jarrett spoke these words on the night of February 18, 2001, the thought of a NASCAR Winston Cup series without the Intimidator was still something beyond comprehension. The truth of his words wasn't realized at Rockingham, even after Steve Park took the checkered flag. That race was merely the wake that followed a week of funerals. Now, another week later, more tributes await in Las Vegas. On a cleared embankment off Turn 4, 28,000 pansies and 5,333 petunias, 33,333 flowers in all, are arranged in the shape of the iconic number 3. The event program is the first of the season to include a printed tribute to Earnhardt in place of an ordinary driver profile. And Sunday's flyover by the F-16 Fighting Falcons will feature the Missing Man formation, an honor rarely done for a civilian. But with these tributes, the reality will become clear. As the sport continues at its already scheduled pace, changing as it does, Earnhardt's death begins to feel both recent and distant at the same time. At the center of it all is 25-year-old Kevin Harvick. Fresh off a 14th place finish in chassis number 60, Earnhardt's 2000 Atlanta winner, Harvick will now compete for Rookie of the Year. As to his eligibility, it makes no difference that he hasn't run the Daytona 500. Out of 36 races, a rookie's worst 15 finishes are not considered. And Earnhardt's hauler from Daytona awaits another white and black number 29. This time, it's the car Earnhardt drove to a 20th place finish at Homestead the previous November. With it, Harvick will reach an important crossroads. He will either build on his impressive debut or struggle, just as the rest of the rookie class already has. Appropriately, Harvick has an ace up his sleeve. He's already turned more than 1,000 laps in this very car. Those laps were at Kentucky, 1.5-mile track that will run its first Busch Series race in June. But for now, all that can wait. On Wednesday the 28th, Harvick will marry his fiancée. Delana Linville is not at all new to racing. She's the daughter of Busch Series driver John Linville and was once the public relations manager for Randy LaJoie. Their first 2 races as husband and wife will take place just beyond the Vegas Strip, the track where Earnhardt never won, but in 3 starts charged from 26th, 33rd, and 38th to finish inside the top 10. Which path will Harvick take?
Place to dance. Junior's coming, got a chance on the speedway. Dale's team got the floor. Walter Clark wants some more. More on speedway. The race is next. I got a hunch it'll make you shake. Thank you very much.
In late February 2001, the Las Vegas Motor Speedway is still 5 years from its current configuration. Instead of the current 20-degree progressive banking, the corners peak at just 12 degrees. In its first 3 years, Vegas has become the stomping ground for Roush Racing, or rather Mark Martin and Jeff Burton, who between them have won all 3 of the first Cup races there and the last 2 Busch Series events. 1 year after pulling a weekend sweep in Vegas, Burton will again enter both the Busch and Cup races for 2001 as Gain Detergent is signed to sponsor his Busch car. But with finishes of 19th and 37th to start the year, he will do so from a distant 33rd in Cup Series points. Preseason testing has been ongoing in Vegas since January. On the 7th and 8th, Stacey Compton put up the fastest lap of a rain-shortened 2-day test involving 9 of the 10 Dodge teams. Excluded was Chip Ganassi's number 01, which at the time had yet to sign Jason Leffler. Attending the test was Las Vegas native Jimmy Vasser, who was among those being considered for the ride. That same month, NASCAR wanted to try their aggressive new superspeedway package on the 1.5-mile tracks. Still enthralled with the competitive Winston 500 the previous October, both NASCAR and Texas track president Eddie Gossage hoped they could replicate the same form of racing on intermediates. On the 13th, Ricky Rudd ran the package at Atlanta, followed by Steve Park at Texas on the 24th, each running the rear damper and roof strips, but without the restrictor plates. Park was unimpressed and said it made his car feel sluggish and off balance. The plan was then abandoned, and teams ran their usual intermediate cars during a Vegas test in early February. Unhampered by the high-drag package, Johnny Benson Jr. unofficially broke Ricky Rudd's track record from 2000 with a lap of 173.376 miles per hour. As at Rockingham, not every team tests at Las Vegas. At the time, NASCAR only allows each team to test at 7 tracks per year, except for rookies, who are allowed 12. Tony Stewart doesn't test at Las Vegas, where he nearly won before the rain fell in 2000. He instead wants to focus on the short tracks at Bristol and Martinsville, where he seeks to improve. Steve Park, the Rockingham winner, also doesn't test in Vegas, as he believes the track will change too much from January to March. Tires become a story. After years of over-engineering their tires, Goodyear decides over the off-season to cut the number of different tire codes being used in NASCAR's top 3 series. After running nearly 40 in 2000, they would only run 15 to 16 in 2001. The plan is to increase consistency from one week to the next, each type trending on the hard side. They group various tracks into so-called clusters, using one combination for the superspeedways, another for the road courses, and still another for flat tracks. The Rockingham tires are also used at Las Vegas, and will be run on the other bank tracks at Bristol and Darlington. This way, leftover inventory can also be brought to other tracks. This tire is also reportedly taller than those used in 2000, which has required teams to run a lower gear.
Given the news of the broken seatbelt, are there any new developments regarding the loss of Dale Earnhardt?
Well, while the investigation continues, since our announcement Friday morning, there's nothing new to report.
As few new details emerge from NASCAR's investigation into Earnhardt's accident, rumors continue to fly. One has NASCAR using one of Kyle Petty's cars to crash test into a soft wall, noting the reduction of impact force from 100 Gs to less than 40. Another has Tom Cruise, 11 years past Days of Thunder, trying to buy the rights to Dale Earnhardt's story for an upcoming film. Still another is a rechristening of the Daytona 500, calling it the Dale Earnhardt 500 at Daytona. NASCAR's revealing of the broken Simpson lap belt at Rockingham has only complicated the investigation. Initially, evidence of a basilar skull fracture seemed to confirm Earnhardt was killed by a violent movement of his head and neck, the exact injury that could have been prevented if he wore the Hans device. But if the broken belt somehow also broke this chain of causation, and Earnhardt instead died of his head striking the steering wheel, it could be argued that the Hans device wouldn't have helped. Grisly though it may be, conclusively determining this exact sequence of events will have significant consequences for NASCAR and their stance on head and neck restraint devices going forward. This is why the equally grisly matter of Earnhardt's autopsy photos remains such an important issue. NASCAR's investigation isn't simply a matter of causation, but potentially of their own liability, which would be a clear conflict of interest. As Rick Morrissey writes for the Paducah Sun, this is about whether NASCAR officials are burying their heads in the sand, or worse, trying to bury the truth with Earnhardt. Thus, the Orlando Sentinel seeks the advice of a third party, neurosurgeon Dr. Philip Villanueva of the University of Miami, who the paper hopes will be able to determine the exact sequence of events in a way a pathologist could not. The effort is spearheaded by longtime columnist Ed Hinton, who performed a 6-month investigation into racing safety during the dark days of the 2000 season. It was Hinton who was also a part of the 1994 investigation into the deaths of both Neil Bonnet and Rodney Orr. This investigation concluded that a $3 part holding a shock absorber in place, not Hoosier tires, nor driver error, as NASCAR first concluded, was likely the cause of both fatal accidents. Florida law at the time is on the Sentinel's side. Under the state sunshine laws, autopsy reports are of public record unless part of a criminal investigation, which the Earnhardt case is not. Regardless, the Sentinel has made several concessions to the Earnhardt family during the ongoing lawsuit. They make repeated assurances that, during their investigation, the photos will not be published, nor copied, nor even removed from the courtroom, where Dr. Villanueva will examine them under the scrutiny of a judge. But then Teresa Earnhardt makes an unexpected trip to Las Vegas, where she holds a brief press conference.
This is the first time I've spoken in public since we've lost Dale. Honestly, I'm not very comfortable being here. It is too soon. But this issue is of vital importance, not just to my family, but to anyone ever faced with losing a loved one and being exploited from it. Please help us by speaking out. We need you right now. Thank you for your support, and enjoy the race today.
The statement adds fuel to the fire. Over the next 2 days, Sentinel editor Tim Franklin takes 3,000 of the almost 7,000 emails and calls. Some of the emails have been quite ugly, but I understand it's an emotional issue, says Franklin. While we feel sorry for the Earnhardt family and what they're going through, there's a big issue here about NASCAR safety, and we're simply trying to provide more information about how Dale Earnhardt died. Unsatisfied, some callers plan to start a boycott of the Sentinel's advertisers. Others send more than 12,000 emails to Florida Governor Jeb Bush, demanding he intervene. With surprising speed, legislation is proposed where it would be a third-degree felony to obtain autopsy photos without a court order. Amidst the strong feelings of the time, little thought is given as to how this could negatively affect future investigations of other accidents. The Sentinel lawsuit isn't the only media controversy to stem from the accident. Tony Stewart is upset with CNN for taking a quote of his out of context. After his own wreck at Daytona, Stewart said, quote, "The world's not going to end just because a race driver crashes." While Stewart was referring to himself, CNN made it sound like he was referring to Earnhardt. Other writers fear the current direction of the sport. Michael Hill of the Baltimore Sun criticizes NASCAR for no longer pushing the boundaries of modern technology, but instead running outdated cars for mindless entertainment. He blames this difference in philosophy for Earnhardt's death. Greg Coates of the Miami Herald writes, quote, "NASCAR has turned into a macabre, too real version of some TV survivor show. Who will be eliminated next?" Stuck in the middle of all this is an exhausted Bill Simpson. Following up on his statement that, when installed correctly, his seatbelts don't fail, Simpson is invited by NASCAR to examine Earnhardt's car. But after a careful analysis, he does not conclusively say the belt was installed improperly. There's a lot of mystery surrounding this whole thing, he says. Simpson has another battle to fight. He's now being sued by David Hutchins, a driver who claims his Simpson belt failed in the same way as Earnhardt's following a crash during a Pro Stock Division race in June of 2000 at the Seekonk Speedway. Simpson issues a statement. Quote, "We see the attorney's actions as an opportunistic stunt to capitalize on the unfortunate death of Dale Earnhardt by sensationalizing their allegations in the news media." All of this is separate and apart from the tension between NASCAR and its active drivers and teams. Demand for the Hans device continues to rise. After only Brett Bodine, Andy Houston, and Ricky Craven wore it in the Daytona 500, 6 more followed suit at Rockingham. Dale Jarrett, Matt Kenseth, Kurt Busch, Robert Presley, Hut Strickland, and Terry Labonte. Joining at Las Vegas will be Michael Waltrip and Jeff Gordon. "It rubs on my collarbone," says Gordon. "I want to find a way to soften that. If that's what I have to give up to be safer, I'm fine with that." At the suggestion of Rusty Wallace, NASCAR is reportedly looking into making the side window areas on their cars larger, thus allowing drivers to climb out while wearing the Hans. But there is still no news whether NASCAR will mandate the device. This is different from the American Speed Association, or ASA, which in 2002 will make the Hans mandatory. Ryan Hemphill, then a 19-year-old rookie in ASA after 3 late model wins at the Motordrome Speedway in 2000, tries one on for the season-opening race in St. Augustine, Florida. "I got to spend some time with one of the people who had it there," says Hemphill. "He really took some time to explain it to me, explain why it's safe. It really put a lot of confidence in me. After seeing Dale Earnhardt and what happened to him, it might have saved his life. Just that little bit of extra safety is a confidence booster." Hemphill says he adjusted to the limited head movement caused by the Hans by simply moving his eyes more while racing. In the Winston Cup garage, there's a mounting effort to start a drivers' council. The drivers are considered independent contractors, not employees of NASCAR, which places the sanctioning body outside the scope of OSHA regulations. Jeff Burton remains the most outspoken on the issue. We need to come together a little bit, maybe have a neighborhood meeting to figure out how to fix this problem, he says. I think we need to be willing to spend time, energy, and effort, even money if we have to make ourselves available to help with the problem. Todd Bodine also weighs in. We drivers, as a community, we need to start having a voice in what happens, and what some of the rules are. If we could form a committee, we'd have a single voice able to speak for us and make us heard. Bodine brings up that NASCAR doesn't make things mandatory. It's not mandatory that I wear a fire suit or helmet. It's recommended. I could get into a car with shorts and a t-shirt if I wanted. Indeed, some of these loopholes, even wearing socks and underwear, are not closed until 2023. Mike Hilton doesn't see the need for a drivers' council, saying NASCAR is already receiving feedback from drivers on an individual face-to-face basis. It does not take 2 or 3 drivers to get our attention, says Hilton. It does not take a committee for us to react. Hilton also points to, quote, over 50 things since 1994 in reaction to safety issues have been implemented under the current system. It absolutely drives me crazy for somebody to say that NASCAR doesn't care, says Hilton on March 8th. I cannot stomach that. As bad as I heard over losing Adam Petty, Kenny Irwin, Tony Roper, and now Dale Earnhardt, all of that hurt combined is not as big as somebody saying that NASCAR doesn't care. That is so wrong. Rusty Wallace disagrees with Hilton, saying that some drivers have been too uncomfortable to share their concerns with NASCAR. Scott Fowler for the Courier writes, quote, what insular NASCAR needs is some outsiders with some power who can talk openly about Hans devices, soft walls, and seatbelts without fear of being silenced or having their paycheck sliced. A driver's safety committee, an outside agency, a congressional inquiry, something, because all we've got now is a dead legend and a whole lot of questions. Drivers and the media aren't the only ones upset with the sport's recent deaths. We can't do this, says Robert Yates. I wouldn't go watch it. I wouldn't sponsor it. I wouldn't want to be a part of it. Let's go to the experts. In 1996, engineers for NASCAR teams looked into, quote, torsional stiffness, an effort to make the chassis and roll cages stop flexing under the centrifugal force of cornering. Making the cars stronger and stiffer had the effect of making the cars corner faster and drive better. But in a crash, a stiffer car would absorb less of the impact, leaving the energy with nowhere to go but through the driver. Then, in 2000, NASCAR mandated larger tubular steel bars for the roll cages, which potentially increased both the torsional stiffness and the risk of driver injuries. It would have to come from NASCAR to put additional guards out front in the car, says Yates, if they knew exactly what to mandate. That means go to the experts, get the technology, prove it in bench tests, and apply it. It would have to come from somebody who understood the crush zones. Yates also brings up the idea of installing carbon fiber crush boxes, like those in Formula One. Fellow team owner Bill Davis says it would only take a week to install safer materials in his cars. You'd be amazed how quick we could do something like that, says Davis. More crushability built into the front end makes a lot of sense. But according to Yates, NASCAR has been reluctant to implement such changes.
Season began with Michael Waltrip winning the Daytona 500. Then the DEI crew battled through adversity at the Rock as Waltrip caught the wall in practice and Junior wrecked on the first lap. But after the rain, Steve Hart prevailed and Dale Earnhardt Incorporated was in victory lane again. This week we're in Viva Las Vegas, where the only sure bet is that the action is all right here.
It is under this cloud of both controversy and tragedy that NASCAR travels west. Among the 12 tracks on the Las Vegas Motor Speedway property, 3 will host races this weekend. On top of the Winston Cup and Busch Series races on the 1.5-mile oval, there are World of Outlaw events on the dirt track, which on the first 2 days are won by Andy Hillenburg, Oklahoma's, not Indiana's, of field filler fame, and Danny Wood. Randy Swalwell wins a Grand American Modified event. There's also a Winston West event on the 3/8-mile paved bull ring. The Napa 300, the second race of the West Series season, is postponed by rain from Wednesday to Thursday. To give the support race more attention, the Venetian Resort Hotel Casino announced a challenge on February 6th. Any driver who finishes in the top 3 spots in both the West race and Sunday's Cup race will, along with their spouse, receive a 3-night stay in the Venetian's penthouse suite, plus a $20,000 shopping spree in the Grand Canal shops. Brendan Gaughan is the first to accept the challenge, followed by Michael Waltrip on February 8th and Ron Hornaday Jr. on the 11th. All 3 fall short in Thursday's race. Waltrip loses the radiator, Hornaday his engine, and Gaughan's Bill McNally car finishes in 8th. Pole sitter Mark Reed dominates the 300-lap race, leading 144 laps, and wins ahead of Mike Duncan and Sean Woodside.
And today, Dale Earnhardt had courage, confidence, cooperation, and a whole lot of luck as he takes home the $1 million. For Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, John Kernan, Ray Dunlap, and Bill Weber, I'm Jerry Punch. Once again, congratulating the 7-time Winston Cup champion, Dale Earnhardt, on his dramatic win in this 32nd running of the Winston 500.
When Dale Earnhardt won his 76th and final Winston Cup race at Talladega, he also claimed a $1 million bonus from R.J. Reynolds. Talladega was the last of 5 pre-selected races in 2000, where 5 drivers had a chance to win the bonus if they won the race. This was the No Bull 5 program, an upgrade to the Winston Million. In it, 5 drivers would each be matched with a fan selected from a contest. These 5 fans would then watch the race from a special viewing stand in the infield. The top 5 finishers of each No Bull 5 race were eligible for the next round. Las Vegas would be the next after Talladega, which would have matched Earnhardt against Kenny Wallace, Joe Nemechek, Jeff Gordon, and Terry Labonte. Earnhardt's spot doesn't pass to Kevin Harvick. It instead falls to 6th-place Talladega finisher Mike Skinner, Earnhardt's teammate, on whom the Intimidator happened to make the winning pass coming to the white flag. In the lead-up to the race, Fox sends Kenny Wallace to the boxing rematch between Evander Holyfield and John Ruiz II.
Okay, here we are in Vegas, the big fight, Holyfield and Ruiz. Now listen, I'm going to get me some good interviews and find out what everybody thinks I need to do to win $1 million. I need a suggestion. I need you to tell me, what do I need to do? What kind of mindset do I need?
Well, I think you need to get out in front and don't look back.
I like that. Get out front, don't look back. Man, you look good. Hey, can I ask you something? How you doing?
Jersey.
All right, Jersey boys. I'm a race car driver, okay?
We know that.
How do you know that?
Because you're Kenny. Who doesn't know that?
All right. You've been in pressure-packed situations. What kind of advice do you have for me?
Pray beforehand.
Hey, I like that, and I will pray a lot. Let me ask something. Is $1 million a lot of money to you?
Well, yeah, $1 million is a lot of money to anybody.
Oh, look at what I found here.
Be careful of the tight corners.
Tight corners.
That's what drivers tell me.
Thank you. Luck. I need luck.
Even here, there is a tribute to Earnhardt. Before the fight is a moment of silence. The bell is then rung 10 times. Kenny Wallace's No Bull 5 status also helps Eel River Racing sponsorship issues, at least for now. During the Rockingham weekend, Don Levy Racing sponsor Hills Brothers Coffee decides to rejoin the number 27 for the first time since Daytona. Meanwhile, Combo's Snacks, one of Ken Schrader's sponsors, steps up their backing to become an associate sponsor of the number 36 Pontiac. The only driver without a sponsor on the Cup Series entry list is rookie Kurt Busch. Unable to draw a backer for his first Cup start at his home track, Busch carries the same white JR's Garage paint scheme from Rockingham. The Fords were at an aerodynamic disadvantage in Daytona, and Rockingham was just circumstances, explains Jack Roush of his 4-team slow start to the season. I don't know if things will turn around in Las Vegas, but we certainly hope so. Robbie Loomis, Jeff Gordon's crew chief, takes responsibility for the number 24 car being too low in post-race inspection at Rockingham. A set screw that secures a jack bolt loosened during the race, allowing the car to lower and become extremely tight, he says. Unfortunately, I feel this incident also cost us a chance to win the event. No points penalties are handed down, so Gordon retains his 3rd-place finish and 7th-place rank in points, just 58 behind leader Rusty Wallace. Rockingham runner-up Bobby Labonte is the odds-on favorite to win Sunday's race, per local bettors, at a 9-2. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is behind him with a 5-1. Ray Evernham hopes to reevaluate his Dodge program after Atlanta. Right now, it looks like we got a good aerodynamic balance, he says. I think we're close enough where if we find just a little bit, the Dodges can be competitive. Bill Davis, team owner for Ward Burton and Dave Blaney, says the Dodge engines build up a lot of water temperature, and they're trying to figure out the issue. There are 47 drivers entered for Sunday's Cup race, 2 more than in Rockingham. First of the newcomers is Ryan Newman, who like Harvick seeks his second career Cup start. After a win in the season's ARCA 200 and an eventful Busch Series debut at Rockingham, the 23-year-old climbs aboard the third Penske Racing entry, the number 02 Alltel Ford. The other is Truck Series newcomer Brendan Gaughan, who finished 8th in the West Series race. Driving the number 62 Orleans Hotel and Casino Chevrolet for his family's team, this is his first ever attempt at a Cup race. Both his car and engines are leased from Richard Childress Racing. The car, also set up for Dale Earnhardt, requires several adjustments, as Gaughan says he's never driven a car so loose. Gaughan will ultimately be injured in a practice crash and must tough his way through qualifying. Not among the entrants is Galaxy Motorsports. Darwin Ort now says he plans to be back for the July race at Daytona, but his driver Wally Dallenbach Jr. is suing for $1.6 million in damages, including his salary and promised endorsements. On Friday, the Cup Series drivers run their first practice of the weekend for the UAW-DaimlerChrysler 400. Looking to score a third consecutive win for DEI, Michael Waltrip secures the fastest lap at 171.554 miles per hour, leading Jerry Nadeau and Johnny Benson Jr. In the lead-up to the weekend, Mark Martin decides he'd rather run his backup car than his primary, and the Roush Racing crew unload both cars to swap over parts onto the backup. This backup is what the team calls a Roush Burton car, a chassis that was built in-house with Jeff Burton taking part to add different safety features. The decision pays off as Martin runs 6th fastest, best of the Fords. Qualifying comes later. Taking the pole in a brand new UPS Ford is Dale Jarrett, who clocks in a lap of 172.106 miles per hour, or 31.376 seconds, not quite a track record. It's the 11th pole of Jarrett's career and his second at Vegas, following the 1998 inaugural. Starting alongside will be Johnny Benson, who backs up both his practice speed and his session-leading performance in preseason testing. Sponsor or none, Kurt Busch is the fastest rookie, taking 9th on the grid, just ahead of 11th place Ron Hornaday Jr. Sterling Marlin takes 8th, the only Dodge in the top 10. Jeff Burton only manages 28th on the grid, 4 spots ahead of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 32nd. DEI's hopes of a third consecutive Cup win seem to lay with Michael Waltrip, who qualifies a strong 4th, while Steve Park ranks 21st, 1 spot back of RCR's Kevin Harvick in 20th. Mike Skinner needs a provisional in 37th, lowest ranked of the No Bull 5 contenders. Prior to qualifying, Skinner's carburetor intake manifold is confiscated. NASCAR discovers it's been laced with a performance-enhancing additive. Ryan Newman locks himself into his second Cup start by taking 35th, but a sore Brendan Gaughan comes up just short of his series debut. His lap of 32.038 seconds is second fastest of the 4 DNQs. For a second straight race, 2 of those DNQs are Kyle Petty and Andy Houston, who have not taken the green flag since the Daytona 500. Rick Mast gets his own second DNQ of 2001 with Midwest Transit Racing. After 2 crash-filled weeks, Robbie Gordon ranks a distant 40th in qualifying. Already, team co-owner Larry McClure is fending off rumors that Robbie will be leaving the team. "I really do not know where these rumors get started," said McClure. "I am not happy with the performance of this team, but we are only into the 3rd race of the season. During the race at Rockingham last week, we realized that no adjustments would make the race car better. We unloaded here in Las Vegas, and the same thing was happening. We changed everything on the car before qualifying. The car stayed the same. This makes us realize the chassis might need to be changed. Maybe it is a combination of items, but we are certainly going to make changes to these cars next week." Kodak is pleased with Robbie. Morgan McClure is pleased with Robbie. He has shown during the last few days that he is a team player. He has stepped up and is offering input. "My crew guys are probably some of the hardest working guys in the garage right now. They have done everything we have asked them to do and more." Robbie makes it a point to thank them daily for all of their hard work. "This team has been down, and we are going to get this situation corrected. Hopefully everyone can see some major improvements by Darlington."
When they drop that green flag, buddy, and you head down that back straightaway for the first time and you're looking for clean air, and you're looking for the lead.
After the drivers requested an extension of happy hour the previous week in Rockingham, the change becomes permanent. The 60-minute session at Las Vegas is extended to 90 minutes. After mixed results in qualifying, Dodge dominates the session with Casey Atwood, Sterling Marlin, Dave Blaney, and Ward Burton each taking turns in the top 3. Mike Skinner continues to struggle with his car and makes wholesale changes, while Jeff Gordon gets a track bar adjustment. Kevin Harvick is happy with his car and climbs to 3rd in the session before he settles back to 7th. Atwood runs the top speed, which is 1.3 seconds off Michael Waltrip's best lap on Friday. Harvick then turns his attention to the afternoon's Busch Series race, the Samstown 300. The Samstown Casino has just this week honored Richard Petty on a commemorative casino chip. Looking to improve on back-to-back runner-up finishes to start the season, Harvick's AC Delco team gains unwanted attention from NASCAR. The crew is reportedly caught trying to inflate his fuel cell with air to make it bigger. Harvick rolls off 16th in a full field of 43 starters. Cup Series regulars sweep the front row with Matt Kenseth on pole alongside Todd Bodine. Bodine isn't running the car he won with in Rockingham, but for a 3rd time in as many races looks to have a fast piece. The plan had been for team owner Buckshot Jones to drive the 00 the following week in Atlanta, the home track for both Jones and sponsor Georgia Pacific. But Jones doesn't want to stop Todd's strong start to 2001. Dropping to the rear for the starter, Larry Foyt, who changed engines on the number 14 Harrah's Chevrolet, and Bobby Hamilton Jr., who was about to start 4th before he wrecked in practice, sending him to a backup Dr. Pepper Chevrolet.
Green flag, and we're racing in Las Vegas.
On the break, Matt Kenseth leads from the pole, but Greg Biffle whistles past at the stripe. On lap 5, contact from Jeff Purvis sends Blaze Alexander into the wall. Brad Baker spins in the chain reaction. Alexander makes it to pit road, but his rear clip is too damaged to continue. Todd Bodine takes the lead on lap 14, but 2 other Cup drivers are flying through the field. Jeff Burton jumps from 36th to 19th, just ahead of 20th place Michael Waltrip, who started 33rd. On lap 25, Waltrip catches Burton and passes him on the high side. The second caution for debris on lap 39 costs Todd his advantage over the field. His pit crew doesn't help either.
What's going on down there?
They're going right side tires on the number 87 of Joe Nemechek. No chassis adjustments to that Chevrolet. Should be handling good. He said it was a little bit tight. They changed left side tires, and we'll go to Matt Yoakum.
The 00 of Todd Bodine is already on pit road. A 4 tires stop. They were discussing what to do with anything. No chassis adjustments on the 00. The 17's down and away, Jake.
Greg Biffle had called his crew before this caution flag and said the car is real tight. That's 3 reels. So they are adjusted the track bar on it. Talked about changing the spring rubber. They didn't do that. Not the best of pit stops, but not all that bad either for Biffle.
Bodine's issue puts Kenseth up front, but turn 2 remains treacherous as Randy LaJoie spins Kelly Denton. On the restart, Chad Chaffin breaks loose racing Tim Fedua, but the race stays green. This allows Biffle to catch Kenseth for the lead. Behind them, Todd Bodine is trying to make up lost ground, but he's now having radio issues. Not only is another team on his same channel, but he's also getting interference from nearby Nellis Air Force Base. On lap 60, the battle for 9th heats up between Tony Raines, Jeff Burton, Jeff Green, and Michael Waltrip. 3 laps later, Bodine is up to 3rd and now battles Biffle for 2nd.
Buckshot Jones' car with Todd Bodine has caught the 2 leaders.
And that was what Larry was talking about, the spindle change they made on the left front.
2nd place at stake here.
All the way to the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah,
effortlessly.
Anywhere he wants to go with that thing.
Yeah, that car, that's an awesome race car. Man, is that the same one he had last week?
And again, he was leading this thing before the caution, went all the way back to 5th. Bad pit stop, little trouble on the left side, but he's working his way back up there. He pulls to the inside of Greg Biffle. Biffle runs into the bottom, didn't give him no room at all.
Bodine. Now, he looks like he completes the pass, but Biffle drives it in there hard.
See, Biffle is a hard racer. Watched him race trucks for a couple of years, and he never gives.
Whoa, they touch on the back straightaway.
Wow.
A little early for this, guys.
Well, like you said, it's fun to watch. Oh, Biffle right out next to the wall.
And meanwhile, while they're doing this, Matt Kenseth's just getting further and further away. Yep. They need to figure out which one's faster. They just keep beating on each other.
They're going to beat the sides in on those things.
Now, Jimmy Johnson is 1 second behind them. But you see he is closing in, just like that other battle when they ran side by side. For more on Johnson, Dick Berggren.
He is having some pretty serious radio problems, Mike. He said that he's trying to figure out when the radio works and trying to figure out how they can communicate with each other. So they've gotten through to each other that roof is tight, pat the bottom of the door, and the car is a bit loose. Johnson asked his crew, he said, how am I supposed to know when I'm going to pit? Crew said, everybody's going to be up on the pit wall. Just take a look at us.
The old hand signals.
That's right.
Well, Todd Bodine has decided to give Greg Biffle a bit of room.
No.
No?
He's trying to get his breath back.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
that's breathless here a couple of times.
That's smart racing. I mean, you still got 130-something laps to go. You know you've got a good race car. Don't see, they done caught. They got in line. They done caught Matt Kenseth. There's a message there, guys.
But that 60 car, I mean, he is using the high line higher than anybody.
Looks like Todd oh, Biffle squeezed him right down to the racetrack. And Biffle's so good from the center of the corner off, Todd can't stay with him. For more on Biffle, Jeannie.
Well, I talked to the rookie the other day about how he uses the track, and he just chuckled. He said, look, I come from the truck series where you skate around so much you really don't have the kind of control that you have here in the Busch series. So I've gotten used to it, and I can't really change that style. And actually, it's working for him, guys.
Boy, I'll tell you, he's up in that gray stuff, and it just gives him a lot of run off the corner, and then Todd kind of drives under him going down in the corner here.
And now Biffle will shove it in there and pull Todd by half a car length.
And Todd, he's going to run. He's going to use.
Look at him below the apron. They're going to split the 63 car. Shane Hall there.
Use him for a pick.
And they're back single file. Get a chance to catch their breath once again.
The two remain locked side by side as they thread their way through traffic, both reeling in race leader Kenseth. It is not long before Todd imposes his will.
Biffle kept holding him up, trying to run the outside, and Todd couldn't get by on the inside, so he said, well, I'll just let you scrape my left side a while. You worn out my right.
I don't know if Biffle even knew he was out there.
I don't think he did.
Then he went after Matt Kenseth for the lead.
Yeah, once he got around Biffle, I mean, it was a piece of cake after that. Biffle was, he drives that car just like he did that truck. He uses every bit of the racetrack.
As Todd extends his lead, Jimmy Johnson gets some screen time. Like Todd, Johnson is also having radio issues. He has to use hand signals and watches for the crew standing on pit wall as his signal to come in. Then, on lap 78,
Matt Kenseth in the wall.
Is that Biffle?
Yeah, that's Biffle.
Biffle's around
60.
He's around with him.
Did they get together battling for second? Or was one a consequence of the other? Looks like both cars will make it around to pit road.
Yeah,
now
but Kenseth's got some damage on his car. Biffle looks clean.
This happened coming off turn 2 at lap 78.
Yeah, a lot of damage on the 17 car.
Biffle in third runs over second-place Kenseth, sending both spinning down the backstretch. Biffle escapes with minor damage, but Kenseth's car sustains enough damage to eventually put him behind the wall and out of the race. This caution prevents Jimmy Johnson from making a green flag stop, and even after changing the radio, his crew manages to get him the lead off pit road. But the crew was a little too fast. Johnson picks up a vibration, the sure sign of a loose wheel. Fortunately, Michael Waltrip spins just after the restart, allowing the 92 to come back in under yellow. Kevin Grubb takes 2 tires and leads the lap 90 restart, only to have his mirror filled by Todd Bodine. Todd, who had another slow stop under the Kenseth caution, makes quick work at the number 37 car and begins to extend his lead. On lap 95, the gap from first to second is 2.291 seconds. It's 4.415 on lap 101. Dr. Dick Berggren, however, is impressed with the driver running 5th.
I think this guy deserves a round of applause. 24-year-old Jamie McMurray out of Joplin, Missouri. Started racing go-karts at age 8. Graduated to the dirt tracks with Larry Phillips. Ran some short track stuff. Ran 20 truck races in 2 years. This is by far his best ever ride. This kid is in just his 5th ever Busch Series start. He has run in the top 10 all day long. He moved recently, right next door to the shop, so he could be close to it. He said they won't let him work on the car, but he goes in and he buys lunch for everybody, for the whole crew, as often as he can.
Further back, more drivers fall out of the race. Randy LaJoie blows a hole in his oil pan. Bobby Hamilton Jr. overheats after he caves in the nose. With 70 laps to go, Todd Bodine is leading by more than 7 seconds with just 15 cars on the lead lap. Green flag stops are coming up. With 65 to go, Joe Nemechek pits along with Greg Biffle. Jeff Burton gets 5 turns on the track bar. Todd stretches it to lap 145, but for a third time, his crew lets him down.
3, 2, 1. He comes to a halt, a 4-tire stop. This will be their final scheduled pit stop for Todd Bodine. They were also talking about air pressure. I do not see any wedge wrenches going in, so no chassis adjustments. Coming around to work on the left side of the car. They have had some trouble on their pit stops today. Trouble with the jack on the first stop. Oh, trouble on the left front. Stop. They do not believe they have one lug nut missing. They're going to check. One lug nut could be missing in the double O. A costly stop for Todd Bodine as they hit it with the air gun one more time. And now he's finally down and away.
After pitting with an 8-second lead, Todd Bodine comes out in 9th place, 6 seconds back of the front runners. Kenny Wallace pits a second time for a missing lug nut, then gets a 15-second penalty for speeding. Jimmy Johnson leads, hoping for a caution, then pits with 49 to go. The caution comes 2 laps later.
It almost looks like Kansas.
Oh, it's Marty Houston.
Marty Houston.
And it is Marty Houston.
And I believe the 92 car, which was would have been about a lap down, I think. I don't think he made it. He tried. He was about a car length short.
Just 46 laps from the finish, Marty Houston wrecks out of his second straight race. To the announcer's surprise, many of the leaders pit, including Todd Bodine and Greg Biffle. This time, Todd's crew finally has a decent stop, and he comes out running in 8th. Johnson tries to get his lap back on the restart. With 36 to go, Todd has climbed to 4th place, 1.7 seconds back of Biffle. 6 laps later, he's second, just as Biffle puts Johnson back a lap down. Mark Green is black flagged for trailing smoke, and the issue still isn't resolved when he returns to the track with 19 to go. Todd doesn't need a caution. He's now in Biffle's draft. And with 15 to go, the fight is on.
Way down on the apron this time. Trying to shortcut it around.
Man, he really swings her out as he heads it down into turn 1.
Jeff Green did get past Elton Sawyer. That puts Green into the top 5, the defending series champ. And here comes Todd right there.
Here that acceleration comes, man. He accelerates up off that corner.
One thing to catch him, one thing to pass him. There he goes, all the way to the bottom. Biffle can't hold it down.
It's going to be a dead heat off the corner. And this is when the fun starts.
Yep, Biffle gets a little more run off the corner.
That's going to
take Todd downstairs.
It's going to be 6,000 on the side.
They touch right there. They're touching again.
This is what we saw him do earlier today when they're fighting for second.
Look at Biffle way out there. Now here's where Bodine is strongest. Middle of the corner to the end of the backstretch.
Just get that lower line. He gets a real good run up underneath Biffle. But here's where Biffle really sails it off in here and uses the high line.
Yeah, but can he do that, Darrell, 14 more times?
No.
Look at Todd fighting. He got loose there on the bottom in turn 4. Fighting that thing.
That's what Biffle wants to do, is keep that.
Whoa, they touch again.
He wants to keep him pinned down as much as he can.
As Kenny Schrader would say, this could get big.
Man, Biffle is right out against that wall just before he enters turn 1.
Now there's a lap car ahead of them, about 15 car lengths. We'll see if it comes into play.
Somebody call him and tell him to move out of the way. We don't want to mess up his good race. Here we go. Inside, outside. They're going to change sides.
Then, with just 9 laps to go, Larry Foyt finds the outside wall.
Foyt's car.
Caution is out.
He's in it again. He's in it again.
Yeah, Larry Foyt slid all the way down the front stretch wall after Kenny Wallace did the dive to the bottom, and caution is out.
And what the spotters for these leaders, they got to do, they got to talk them through all this debris on the front stretch. They don't need to run over something and cut a tire down.
For the second straight race, NASCAR throws the red flag to allow for a lengthy cleanup. When engines refire, Todd's car is trailing smoke. The team hopes it's only some rubber on the headers. The smoke grows worse when he turns to the left. For Biffle in second, there is now blood in the water.
Pretty darn good restart for a guy that didn't think he had the right gear.
Yes, it was.
He got a little early. He got a jump back there. He went early. And there
he goes to the inside. Look, he gets real loose. Gets below the apron top. Bodine, they touch over again. Turn 2.
Boy, Biffle just got a chunk of Bodine's left.
Look at that right front fender. He just knocked the fire out of the right front of the thing. That's going to hurt him.
The contact damages Biffle's fender. For the first time in his career, Todd Bodine wins 2 consecutive races.
In the backstretch for the final lap. Bodine overcoming 2 botched pit stops.
Jason Keller's really closing in on Biffle. It's going to be real close at the line.
It'll be close for second.
For second place.
Bodine's going to win it. Keller has the look, but Biffle holds him off for second place. Keller's third. Tony Raines, Jeff Green, Jeff Burton, and Joe Nemechek looked like he just nipped Elton Sawyer. Gives him that buckshot gun-firing salute, and Steve Burns is in the midst of all that.
With career victory number 13, Mike Joy. Let's get Todd Bodine in here. Wow, Todd, what a battle with Greg Biffle. Tell us how you won this race.
Just a great race car. That's all it was. It was so easy to drive all day. I knew Greg, when he was out there leading us, man, it's going to be tough to catch him because he was the one car I was worried about right there in the beginning. We raced together. We just had an awesome race car again. Gary Cogswell, the whole crew was just awesome. Hi, Lynn, Ashley, wish you were here. But I can't believe it. The car was on a rail all day. It was just perfect race car.
The win vaults Todd to 5th in Busch Series points. More importantly, it gives him momentum into Sunday's race, where he's been just as fast. On a weekend that saw him 9th and 6th in practice, he will roll off in the 6th position. Perhaps tomorrow, in his 110th Cup Series start, the Onion will get his first win.
Welcome to one of the newer stops on the Winston Cup circuit, Las Vegas. One of the favorite social spots as you get a look at the scenery. It's no illusion, no mirage. Great racing today, and who will hit it big? Jeff Burton once again, or how about Jeff Gordon, or points leader Rusty Wallace? Today on Fox, you'll see the high rollers of NASCAR try their luck in the 3rd Winston Cup race of the season. The glitz of Vegas mixes with the glamour of racing in a Las Vegas show that you will never forget.
On Sunday morning, there's again a chance of rain, just as there had been at Rockingham the week before, and this same Vegas race in 2000. The Noble 5 drivers are lined up at the front of the pack before they slot in further back.
Green flag. We're racing.
Well, either Dale got a great jump or Benson wasn't ready one the other because Dale shot right out in front of him.
On the break, Dale Jarrett gets a good start while Jerry Nadeau takes second from Johnny Benson. Trouble breaks out early on lap 2.
Oh, trouble. One car up and into the fence. It's Jeff Burton in turn 2.
Snake eyes.
Jeff Burton, snake eyes on lap 2. They'll come to the caution to begin lap 3, which for us will be all year a silent lap.
Jeff Burton, the 2-time defending winner of the Las Vegas race, breaks loose on his own and wrecks, sending him behind the wall. The driver's not exactly sure what happened. The early championship favorite has now started the year with 3 damaged cars. The second silent lap 3, just like its predecessor, happens under yellow. The race restarts on lap 6, but just seconds later, another Ford fails as Ricky Craven's Tide Ride trails smoke. NASCAR throws the black flag, but not the caution, and Craven continues to oil down the track. On lap 9, Brett Bodine gets in Craven's oil. He goes straight at turn 4 and pounds the outside wall. Before the yellow can come out, there's more trouble in turn 2.
Slam in the wall, Rusty Wallace, another of the favorites.
I think there must be oil in the turn over there.
Well, Ricky Craven, here comes Craven around to the caution again, still out on the racetrack.
Isn't that 2 and 12?
That's teammates, 12,
yeah,
Jeremy Mayfield, 2 and Rusty Wallace.
And they're torn up big time.
Now first, Brett Bodine spun and hit the wall. That brought out the caution. And then in turn 2, Wallace and Mayfield spun up into the wall.
It's an expensive day for Penske Racing. Jeremy Mayfield gets into point leader Rusty Wallace, sending Rusty into the wall. Bill Elliott then bumps Mayfield, and the number 12 crashes right after. Craven finally pits with a massive oil leak and goes to the garage along with Rusty. Mayfield continues, still on the lead lap, but now with heavy damage. Coming into this race, Todd Bodine hadn't led a Cup Series race since September 1998 at Richmond. Following Todd's win in yesterday's Busch race, the Haas-Carter team has made several adjustments to his Ford, especially the shock package. On the lap 14 restart, we see the result of these changes.
How about that Todd Bodine? And we've only run about 2 green laps, and he's already drove from 6th to 2nd in the 66 car.
Yeah, he kind of snookered Nadu when they come back to the line, but I tell you, he's going to the front in a hurry. Look at this, he's coming up off that corner. Looks like that car did yesterday. Got a lot of acceleration, got that Robert Yates power.
And Todd Bodine, who has not led a Winston Cup race since in 2.5 years, September 98 at Richmond, here he goes.
As Todd extends his lead running the high lane, Ricky Rudd cuts a left rear tire and skates up the track in turn 4. There's no caution, and he loses 2 laps in the pits before returning. On lap 22, Todd catches the damaged Mayfield, whose smoking fender ultimately cuts down the right front tire. The tire comes apart down the backstretch, and the 3rd caution falls on lap 27. Under it, Rudd gets 1 of his 2 laps back. The leaders come down pit road, where just like Saturday, Todd's pit crew can't get him out fast enough. Their 16.5 second stop is slower than both Jarrett's and Stewart's, dropping him back to 3rd. It's at least faster than Ward Burton's, as his crew takes time to pull out a spring rubber, dropping his Dodge to the back of the pack. On the lap 32 restart, Todd again sets after the leaders.
Stewart and Jarrett take off. They have Ricky Rudd as a buffer before Todd Bodine, the 3rd place car. And here's Ron Hornaday, number 14, that green Pontiac of A.J. Foyt, challenging Johnny Benson.
Yeah, I was watching him before that caution came out, and he's got a really good car today. He's really made up a lot of time through the turn.
Look at the 66 right there on the outside. We hadn't even completed a lap since we went back to the restart.
Do you think he didn't learn something from yesterday? That's the way he looked yesterday.
Let me tell you about Hornaday. Ron, they call him Rocket Restart Ron Hornaday on the West Coast and in the Truck Series. He and the late Richie Evans, the best restarters I've ever seen. Here's Bodine up alongside Dale Jarrett. He goes on into 2nd place, and he's flying. Matt?
Todd Bodine asked for a little air pressure adjustment. His car was just a tick tight on the 66 car. He's going for the lead. He said his car was very good, but they're just trying to make small adjustments because they have found on this new tire, a small adjustment means a big adjustment.
This weekend, this fella's in another zip code.
I'm telling you, he's doing the same thing he did yesterday, folks. He may not have seen the telecast yesterday. He drove around them on the outside. He drove around them on the inside. Doing it again today.
And I don't care where we're at. When you drive by Tony Stewart and Dale Jarrett on the outside, you're good.
That's right. I know it scared Dale Jarrett. I saw him wiggle a little bit when he looked over and saw Todd going by.
Stewart's crew has changed 4 tires and made adjustments, but neither are helping. On lap 36, he drops to 4th as Sterling Marlin climbs past in the top Dodge. Next to battle him is Ron Hornaday, who just like Daytona is giving the A.J. Foyt car the drive of its life, racing for 5th. It's Hornaday's first Cup start on Vegas's 1.5-mile oval. On lap 43, Todd Bodine's lead over Jarrett has grown to 1.3 seconds. In the infield, Chris Myers and Jeff Hammond have guests at the Hollywood Hotel.
Hey!
Daryl, you left the set too soon.
Jeff, you know, when
I got out there in the nick of time.
Jeff, when they said this mobile studio had everything, I had no idea.
As the green stays out, Todd picks up a push, and by lap 53, Jarrett is peeking under him for the lead. Behind them, both Benson and Hornaday pass Bobby Labonte, who drops out of the top 5. By lap 60, Jarrett has finally cleared Todd, but Marlin has caught them both. On lap 63, Mayfield's battered Ford drops off the pace again and comes down pit road. Ryan Newman had climbed to the top 20 early on, but on the 69th lap, Jarrett puts him a lap down. At that point, the highest running No Bull 5 driver is Jeff Gordon, but he's running back in 16th. Kenny Wallace has already lost a lap. In the previous 3 Vegas races, Kenny has finished no better than 39th. On lap 81, Benson climbs to the 2nd spot past Todd. At the time, both Benson and Michael Waltrip had the fastest cars on the track. The green flag stops are about to begin. Robbie Gordon is the first to come in on lap 83, followed by the Dodges of Ward Burton, Dave Blaney, and Jason Leffler. Jarrett stays out, lapping Mike Skinner's No Bull 5 car on lap 86. By then, Jeff Burton, Brett Bodine, and Ricky Craven have all returned to the race, dropping Rusty Wallace to last place. It's a 10th last place finish of Rusty's career, his first since June 20th, 1999 at Pocono. Steve Park pits on lap 87. The crew has issues tightening the lug nuts on the right front. Benson pits next with Jarrett and Todd. Stacy Compton is caught speeding down pit road. Tony Stewart nearly misses pit entrance when he joins teammate Bobby Labonte on lap 90. The next time by, Mark Martin pits. Martin's crew puts 6 rounds in the right rear and struggles through a 17.6 second stop. He then stalls the engine and gets it to refire. Elliott Sadler inherits the lead until he misses pit entrance completely, handing the lead to Benson. During commercial, the caution comes out for more trouble in turn 2. This time, Joe Nemechek breaks loose under John Andretti, putting both into the outside wall. Dale Earnhardt Jr. wants to take 2 tires, but misses the entrance to pit road. Kurt Busch is up to 5th, having run in and around the top 10 for most of the race so far. The timing of the caution shuffles the running order, putting Elliott Sadler and Buckshot Jones on the front row. On the lap 102 restart, Jones is shaken out, followed soon after by Sadler, and Mark Martin now leads with Ron Hornaday up to 2nd. As Martin bounces back from his bad pit stop, so too does Bill Elliott from the Mayfield incident. By lap 107, Elliott is racing Hornaday. Now this battle is for 3rd, as Dale Earnhardt Jr. has climbed to 2nd. On lap 121, Todd is yet again on the comeback trail, looking to take 3rd from Bill Elliott. This leads to the first crank it up of the race. Green flag stays out with Mark Martin's Roush Burton car still in command. During this time, Mike Joy suggests the creation of a new racing statistic.
You know, we talked this morning about looking for a percentage, a statistical average that would help evaluate the performance of these NASCAR drivers. Baseball, you have a batting average. Football, you have a pass completion advantage. Basketball, you have a field goal percentage. Maybe percentage of top 5s or percentage of top 10s per starts is something that would be kind of helpful or useful. Winning percentage, that doesn't really tell the story, especially of one season.
As Martin passes Jarrett for the most laps led so far, Nemechek returns to the race from his wreck with Andretti. Dale Jarrett, so fast earlier, is now mired back in 11th. On lap 141, Bill Elliott is running laps faster than Martin and has cut a second off his lead in the last 5 laps. Elliott completes the pass on lap 145, zipping by in the high lane through turns 1 and 2. Marlin is also climbing the ranks, taking 5th from Todd, and the booth estimates that the Dodge teams have good long-run speed. On lap 148, Junior makes an unscheduled stop for a vibration. The rest of the field will stay out a little longer, looking to make the finish on just one more stop. It isn't until lap 150, 118 to go, that Jeff Gordon finally enters the top 10. While Fords have dominated in Las Vegas, Gordon has yet to win at this track. In 2000, he crashed in Saturday practice, and likewise never contended. The team didn't know why they were so slow until they returned to the shop and discovered that the frame was bent. This time around, Gordon has still struggled, having started a distant 24th. No one had ever won the No Bull 5 after qualifying so poorly. On lap 154, pit stops begin. Blaney comes in, stalls the engine, then nearly collides with his teammate Ward. Gordon pits, and so does Benson, who needs the oil cleaned from his windshield. Martin pits and gets a better stop with a 15.8. Elliott pits along with a whole group of cars and stalls his engine. As Elliott refires, Park runs out of gas and coasts to his stall. For several tenth seconds, the engine remains silent until it refires, and he's away. Todd needs air pressure and chassis adjustments, but it's another terrible stop at 20.9 seconds. Junior retakes the lead, but 3 laps later, the caution falls.
Well, we got our car in the wall, turn 3 and 4. Oh, a hard hit as the car rolls down to the banking, and that is Hut Strickland. Caution's out for the 5th time today. He pasted the wall.
Hut Strickland makes it to pit road and climbs out under his own power. He's one of the drivers wearing the Hans, and will later say he's pleased with how it performed. "I was pretty impressed," Strickland says of the Hans. "Any other time an impact like that, you would feel your back and neck stretch." It's lap 166, and the race is back under green, with Mark Martin getting a big jump on Sterling Marlin. Marlin works under Martin off turn 4, then completes the pass. Behind them, Kurt Busch holds on to 5th, and Jeff Gordon is racing Jarrett for 6th. On lap 173, a tight battle rages between Kevin Harvick, Mike Skinner, and Steve Park. Robert Presley continues his momentum from Rockingham and remains on the lead lap. With 94 laps to go, Dave Blaney has heavy left front fender damage. The culprit is Ryan Newman, who made contact with him off turn 2. 2 laps later, Bobby Labonte suddenly slows down the front stretch.
Matt, Bobby Labonte just radioed in, guys, I think the motor has let go. They are scrambling. They're going to try to work their way back to the garage, but this is going to be a tough blow for Bobby Labonte.
Last year, Labonte was only 2 drivers to finish every race. Dale Earnhardt was the other.
Not only did he finish every race, he run all but 9 laps, and that's a lot of laps.
I don't see any smoke, and got a car spinning there, car 7.
Mike Wallace in the wall, turn 4, caution is out. 6th one of the day. Lap 176.
Mike Wallace's spin, which sets a track record 6th caution of the day, saves Labonte from losing a lap. The crew looks under the hood and sends him back out, still on the lead lap. It also sends leaders back to pit road. Johnny Benson gets a 16.3 second stop. Sean Parker, the car chief for Mark Martin, nearly injures himself when he puts his hand between the fender and the tire. Jeff Gordon gets a 2-tire stop, which jumps him from 6th to 3rd behind Sterling Marlin and a new race leader who also took 2 tires, Jerry Nadeau. The race restarts with 85 to go, and Jason Leffler crosses Bill Elliott's nose down the backstretch, damaging both Dodges. Behind Nadeau is 24th place Ricky Rudd, who is yet to get his 2nd lap back from his tire issue early in the race. Todd Bodine is in 8th, trying to mount one more rally. With 77 to go, Todd takes 5th from Kurt Busch, the number 66, the fastest car on the track. Behind Busch comes a fast-closing Mark Martin and Johnny Benson. With 73 to go, Rudd catches leader Nadeau in one last push to get his lap back, but all this does is bring Marlin and Gordon into the picture. Behind Gordon, no other Noble 5 contender is higher than 13th. Kevin Harvick holds fast to 10th. With 66 to go, Marlin gets past both Rudd and Nadeau and into the lead. Gordon still in his tire tracks. This leads to another crank it up. With 61 to go, Bobby Labonte's engine continues to sour, and Marlin puts him a lap down. With 57 to go, Marlin has a 1.4 second lead over Gordon, and is well in position to become the only driver to finish top 10 in the season's first 3 races. But Gordon's car is overheating, and everyone will still have to pit one more time. Still, Gordon continues to track down Marlin. With 47 to go, Harvick moves to 8th after a tight battle with Busch and Park. Harvick now eyes his first top 10 in just his 2nd Cup start, a whole week before what was planned to be his debut. Then with 43 to go, Marlin breaks loose and Gordon is there. From the spotter's stand in the infield, contest winner Rodney Mims cheers even harder as Gordon extends his lead. 38 to go, Nadeau makes his last stop of the race and surprisingly takes 2 tires again. Bill Elliott had already made his final stop and is flying through the pack from the 25th spot. Benson pits with 36 to go, just as teammate Ken Schrader is the latest to miss the entry to pit road. Many of the leaders soon follow. Jarrett gets a 14-second stop. Marlin gets a 14.7 after the crew lowers the track bar. Todd gets one more miserable stop at a 17.6. Harvick stalls his car with 31 to go. Gordon pits the next time by, this time taking 4 tires in 15.5 seconds. Mark Martin takes 2. So does Hornaday. Junior makes his last stop but leaves with the catch can. He'll have to serve a stop and go. All these stops put Matt Kenseth out front for the first time, the 13th different leader, a race record. Already an avid Formula One fan, Jeff Gordon has wanted to emulate Michael Schumacher, being the fastest both coming into and off of pit road. His last stop was exactly that. With 26 to go, Gordon is now catching Jarrett for what will ultimately be the battle for the lead. Gordon gets by on the high side. First Sadler, then with 18 to go, Kenseth come down pit road, which puts Gordon back up front. With 15 to go, Harvick is back up to 9th, passing a strong running Jimmy Spencer. Robert Presley is running 16th, another strong run. Presley remains on the lead lap until 14 to go when Gordon catches him. With 8 to go, the fastest car belongs to 4th place Johnny Benson, but he's 5.5 seconds back of the lead. 6 to go when Harvick races Hornaday for the 8th spot, their battle for Rookie of the Year in the Busch Series from 2000, now playing out in Cup for 2001. Kurt Busch slips back to 11th. On the last lap, Bobby Labonte's engine gives up and he trails smoke on the apron of turn 1. But the green flag stays out. For the 53rd time in his career, and the first time in his new paint scheme, Jeff Gordon takes the win.
He's got a lot of lap cars in front of him, but Dale Jarrett still doesn't have a chance to catch him no matter what happens.
Jeff Gordon's winning percentage is going to be about 1 in 5. It's his 260th Winston Cup race, and here comes Jeff Gordon for his 53rd career Winston Cup win.
24, baby.
Hey, Rodney, what are you going to do with that million, buddy?
Viva Las Vegas!
Congratulate Jeff. He now gets unhooked. There's what $1 million looks like. Somewhere in the midst of that is Steve Burns.
I think we're down here, Mike. Jeff Gordon talking to Jeff. $1 million. Congratulations. How'd you win this race?
We're back. Woo! Man, that was awesome. What a day. I don't know. We just never gave up. I guess the car was real tight at the beginning. I think the track maybe came to us because these guys loosened the car up. Just great communication. We never got frustrated. Man, I'm so excited about getting this new DuPont Flame Pepsi car in the Victor Lane. It's awesome.
Well, DW likes the Flames. The young man you won the $1 million for is about to have a heart attack. I don't know about you.
I tell you what, I want to thank Winston for all that they do for our sport. I mean, to give $1 million to us drivers, hey, we don't need it, but to give a guy like this, $1 million bucks, man. Are you excited?
Thanks a lot, man.
I bet the first half of the race he didn't think I had a chance.
It's also a nice turnaround for Robbie Loomis, who is docked $25,000 after the 24 was too low in inspection at Rockingham. And perhaps most significantly, Gordon is the first Cup Series winner to be wearing the Hans device. Dale Jarrett takes home second.
We were really good at the first of the race. Then I got a set of tires that just really spooked me. I was sideways doing everything, try to keep it from wrecking every lap, and wasn't sure if it was that set of tires or if the track was changing, and so we made an adjustment, got it too tight, and it looked like we got more cloud cover. It tightened up, and I just didn't get it freed up enough. They did a great job. Pit stops were incredible. Great engine. Just came up a little shy.
In May, Jarrett will join race winner Jeff Gordon for the next Snow Bowl 5 race in the Coca-Cola 600, including 3rd place Sterling Marlin, 4th place Johnny Benson, and 5th place Todd Bodine. For Marlin, this run gives him the point lead, which he now holds by 35 points over Jeff Gordon.
Sterling Marlin with a great year. He won his 125-miler at Daytona, finished 7th in the Daytona 500, 8th last week, 3rd today. What's next?
I don't know. It'd be nice to go to the line and win. I tell you, Chip Ganassi put together a great race team. Coors Light and Dodge Target in there with us, and got a great bunch of guys. A lot of hard work to shop, and you know, I'm the same guy, been driving these cars for a while, and you get some good stuff, you can go good. And just like to thank them all. They really worked hard, and they deserve it.
What was it like out there today, Sterling?
Well, it was real tight early, and won't adjust on it, and we didn't do much. And the track kind of come to us, and we got real good about lap 200, and checked out and gone. I said, man, we got this thing, and just got too loose. And I thought we fixed enough toward the end, and I just didn't have enough to catch. The 88 and 24 was still too loose, but you know, it's a big improvement from last year, a whole lot from last year, and just like Rick said, I'm proud of all the guys for all the hard work they done.
For Benson, his run also helps a good cause.
That car looked very good all day.
It was. I mean, Valvoline Pontiac was really good most of the day, and just got a little too tight there the last 2 stops, and not really going to complain, though. James Ensign and the guys just doing a tremendous job. Made a couple bucks for the Carrying Hands program that Valvoline has. I'm real excited about that, and just looking for a good year this year.
For Todd, it's the latest in a series of proud accomplishments.
Well, we just missed the setup a little bit. The car was great in the beginning, but as the race went on, the racetrack got tighter and tighter, and we didn't quite keep up with it. We were always one step behind, but we got it the best it was at the end, and got by Mark for 5th. And Kmart Taurus, we did what we had to do. You know, like I said earlier, if we had a top 10 car, that's what we had to do. If we had a car to win, we could win, but we had to get a good finish, get some points. Show what this team is about and what we can do. I mean, this hopefully this is a sign of things to come, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Michael Waltrip is happy to be 3rd in points.
What are you looking at here? I guess we could share this with everybody if you could see it.
This is the finishing order. It tells you the laps completed. It also is a rundown of the points, and it tells us that we are still 3rd in the points, which is far cry better than we were a year ago at this time. And I'm a numbers person. I dissect this stuff and read it every way from Sunday just to see what's up with it, and I'll take this home and study it all and figure out what we need to do at Atlanta to be better. We are real close to being a good team. I believe that with my heart. We're fast at times. Are y'all live or are we taped?
We are live, sir. We are live. There you go.
Hi up there, big bro. How's it going?
It's a family affair.
But it's just real close to being a great team, and I'm real thankful for the effort everybody gave me today. Just like that much, and you know how frustrating it is, DW, when you're just that much short. But thanks to all my sponsors, and thanks to Fox for doing such a good job showing our races to the public. It's fun to watch you guys.
Very nice of you to say. I'll let you continue your homework.
Casey Atwood remarks on a weekend where he was fast in practice.
Well, we've learned a lot, and I've run 5 or 6 Winston Cup races now, and we finished all of them. We hadn't got any wrecks, and we've been struggling a little bit. We were really tight all day. We had a couple sets of tires that didn't really feel good to me, and just building up way too much air pressure in the right front. We had that same problem in happy hour, but we're learning a lot each and every week, and we'll be a lot better when we come back to these places. But had a lot of sponsors here this week with UAW and Dodge, and we really wanted to run good for him, but Bill had a good run, so it was a pretty good weekend for us.
And he brought it home whole.
And finally, Fox catches up with Kevin Harvick, fresh off his first career top 10 in the Cup Series.
14th place at Rockingham, 8th place here. You're improving each week. How are you feeling behind the wheel?
I'm starting to get used to long races. I think that was my biggest concern coming in, and all that time in the gym's paying off for me. And you know, the GM Goodwrench team, I mean, they had a solid foundation, and they had an awesome driver. So I think I'm just trying to get accustomed to them, and if we keep doing what we're doing and just finishing all the races, we'll be fine.
Getting used to the racetrack and getting used to the car and getting used to married life as well. We'll let you get the heck out of here. Congratulations again.
Ron Hornaday finishes 9th, scoring the first top 10 finish for A.J. Foyt Racing since the previous September when Rick Mast took 10th at Dover. Kurt Busch, who made his Cup debut in that Dover race, takes home 11th after starting the season with runs of 41st and 36th. Bill Elliott's final charge comes up short at the 14th spot. Jerry Nadeau's 2-tire stop keeps him on the lead lap in 15th. Ricky Rudd never gets on the lead lap and takes 19th. Ward Burton is disappointed with a 21st place finish, but immediately after the race, 2 engineers from Dodge offer to help make his car run faster. Junior's catch-can penalty leaves him 23rd, the next to last car 1 lap down. Bobby Labonte limps home 29th with his failing engine.
Engine builder Mark Cronquist, crew chief Jimmy Makar, and the guys are looking over the 18 cars, seeing what might have been the culprit for their engine woes. Bobby, any idea?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was, you know, we had lost fuel pressure, and then we lost a valve or a piston or both, and then kind of just rode around after that.
Well, a tough day for Bobby Labonte. 2 finishes this season already outside of the top 20.
Ryan Newman's first Cup start of 2001 yields only a 33rd place finish, 11 laps down. Buckshot Jones loses his engine with 39 laps to go, and his return to full-time Cup racing begins with finishes of 29th, 35th, and 36th. But it's Ford, once so dominant at Las Vegas, that sweeps the final 6 finishing positions. After Rockingham was dominated by Steve Park and Jeff Gordon, fans have been treated to by far the most competitive Cup race yet held at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. While Gordon wins, he leads only the 5th most laps of the race, trailing Martin, Todd, Jarrett, and Marlin. Each driver dominated, staking their claim as early season favorites. Up next comes a race that already promises to be even more exciting. Last year, Atlanta's 2 500-milers produced a photo finish and a first-time winner. Would it be too much to think that this could be the year both happened at the same time?